That is the sound of a distracted, divided, and dead American until they hear. Battle for Freedom, triggering change, one heartbeat at a time. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Battle4Freedom from Battle4Freedom on Mojo 5 Radio, and I'm glad that you are joining me as we start another week, another amazing week in the month of May. Actually, it's a whole nother month, and honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm surprised that we're here. It feels like we just ended 2020. I'm not lying to you. I'm still marveled that we are less than a week away from Mother's Day. So I'm going to try and make a reminder for a lot of you. If you don't get a chance or you're late to the game and trying to do this, Mother's Day is coming this Sunday, and do the best that you can to get what you need to. If you failed in the past to recognize mothers or your wife or your kids, is your chance to do it. Don't make this mistake and lose this window to get this thing done. My website, Battle4Freedom.com. But I also want you to go to Mojo50.com. If you were listening live on Mojo 5 Radio, you would have just finished listening to Defending 2A with Jason Gouffre. Guess what? You'll get a chance to hear a lot of him next week, too, and enjoy the great information that he provides on this network. Mojo5radio.com. Sign up, click schedule, see all the different shows available to you, but also see all the different hosts, and just sign up. You won't go wrong. If you want to interact, you can go to facebook.com/Mojo5 Radio. I see Heidi, Carolyn, Ginger, Linda, and Renee. Good morning. Thank you for being part of this. And good seeing you again, Carolyn, yesterday. Wonderful time of fellowship. Folks, it's interesting. I had a great weekend. I don't know about you. Seems like mine went too quick. But I think that even in the quickness that it went, it was a great time because of the fact that I got a chance to meet some really cool people on Saturday and fellowship with some really cool people on Sunday. So for me, it was a win-win this weekend for me because of the fact that you want to talk about affordable living. Just great living and everything like that. And I want to get into some of that. I want to talk about the news, of course. And we'll just go from there. But before we get into that, do you have your American Pride Roasters coffee?
That's it. I've hit the snooze button a dozen times, and now I have to finally get going. But I'm not going to do this day right if I don't start it off with a cup of American Pride Roasters coffee, the official coffee of Mojo 5 Radio. But I'm not going to lie to you. They have a wide variety of blends, but I'm leaning towards the one that's named after me, Watson's White Chocolate Caramel. You know what? It sounds as good as those words that just rolled off of my mouth. Listen, get it today. AmericanPrideRoasters.com. Tell them that Watson from Battle4Freedom sent you, and you want Watson's White Chocolate Caramel Blend to start your day off. Join American Pride Roasters Coffee and Mojo 5 Radio, and most important, Battle4Freedom, as we celebrate the best coffee in the nation. American Pride Roasters.
Yes, American Pride Roasters coffee. Share it out with as many friends as you possibly can. The reason why is because, one, it's just the best coffee in the nation. Hands down, you're going to love it. A lot of people have picked it up. Good morning, Amy. Amy, again, awesome. Just thank you. Great seeing you. Really appreciate every last one of you and just the encouragement you gave me during giving the serving yesterday. I see that Lisa, Josh, and Jill are joining as well. Thank you for being part of this program. Listen, folks, let's just jump right into this because of the fact that affordable living, because this is affordable living, highlighting your path to better, or I could say highlighting our path to better if we want to do this, because of the fact that there was this issue that was out there that was talking about highlighting our path to better. Oh, so here it is. The Biden's economic advisor pushes for a global minimum corporation tax. Now, my wife showed me this yesterday, and I was like, what? To keep the U.S. competitive worldwide and make sure companies pay their fair share as president vows to raise rates. The Council of Economic Advisors Chair Cecilia Rose aroused, said Biden's administration is pushing a global minimum tax for corporations to keep the U.S. competitive. But the idea is to make, what I don't understand is we don't want to be disadvantaged with other countries. A global minimum rate would close loopholes with U.S. companies moving their operations overseas to avoid the raised rate. See, here's the thing about it, though. This whole thing here about being competitive. Good morning, Lep. Thank you for joining. And if you can catch Lep, he comes on Saturday. You can catch him with a great show, Ain't You a Peach, on Saturday evenings on the weekend. As you sit here and you watch this here, folks, this is really interesting. We're going to start charging American companies more money, okay? More money, more taxes. The president basically dropped the taxes. President and Republicans dropped taxes on American companies. But what we're going to do is we're going to raise this back up. We're going to penalize them to make them more competitive. It's not about being competitive. Understand this. See, you remember when I spent last week talking about the lies of, Joe Biden? No. Hear this and hear this clearly. Thank you, Mitch and Kathy, for joining as well. What this really is about, it's not about being competitive. It's about figuring out a way to sap as much money as they possibly can out of the American people, out of companies, because of the fact that they don't want to stop spending. They don't want to live responsibly. They don't live within the budget that they are supposed to be given. Actually, they don't want to have a budget, because if they have a budget, that means that they actually have to be accountable to the set amount of money given in how they live. But literally, when you look and see what the government does in terms of their budget, and speaking of budget, my family is having our budget meeting tonight. You sit here and you watch this thing. They never have a budget. They never live within that budget. They always figure out a way to spend as much money as they can. And like, oh, well, we wasted all this money. We spent all this money. There's no good accounting on this to show you exactly where all that money was spent. So you want to talk about loopholes. Let's talk about the loophole that basically says that the government can just continue to increase its budget, but never show you exactly where that money went. But we're going to keep increasing the budget. We're going to keep justifying spending more money. And you know what we're going to do is we're going to tax people. We're going to tax these corporations, because this is what happens when the government is too big to succeed. Not too big to fail, too big to succeed. There's no way that we can sustain more and more taxations against companies by a government that doesn't want to be accountable. Affordable living is this. Listen, you don't have to raise the taxes. Just do right with the money that you have now. Be plain, be transparent. You remember that term from the Obama administration? Be the most. Here's your chance to fulfill what you couldn't do in 8 years under Obama. You can do right now as President of the United States of America, Mr. Biden. President Biden, my president, Mr. Biden. You can turn around and you can be more transparent than everyone else. You can start saying, okay, I want line items of everything, every expense that's being made in every department. I went down to the paper cups. I went down to whatever toiletries that were spent. I want to know where all this money is going. Because of the fact that when we sit here and, what was his name from Taxi, and he was in Independence Day, and he said, you don't really think you paid $600 for a hammer or $800 for a toilet? Yeah. Let's find the line item for that $600 hammer or the $800 toilet. But we won't do that. We're just going to ask for more money. We're going to tax corporations. We're going to use terms of being competitive. In other words, being counterproductive by basically, don't go to those other nations. Well, let's ask, why are the businesses sending their companies across seas? Is it because they're avoiding the overtaxation in this country? The taxation that's ridiculous. The taxation where companies were making serious money. People were bringing more money home because companies were investing in their people, because they were excited about the opportunities that they had to make things possible here. And now they're being penalized. You never make an economy better by taxing everyone into oblivion. But see, unfortunately, when you have low information voters, it's not to be an insult. It's too many people. There are too many people who don't want to ask the correct questions. And unfortunately, they keep electing the same people who make it that much more difficult for them to succeed in life and have affordable living. And then they came up with this next nonsense that I thought that was just really downright hilarious. They said that there was a poll. Nearly 2/3 of Americans say that they are optimistic about the next 12 months as Biden wraps up his first 100 days as president. New poll finds. Some 2/3 say that they're optimistic. A little more than 1/3 say that they're feeling pessimistic about the future. Survey by ABC and Ipsos taken as President Trump and President Biden wrapped up his first 100 days. A majority of Americans, 50% support. 52%. Of course, you're going to find 52% of the people who says federal spending to support federal spending to boost the economy. Of course you're going to say this because the fact that you don't understand it because you actually think it's competitive to tax. You think it's competitive to tax and overtax American citizens. Because by taxing the quote-unquote rich, you don't have to get off of your arses so that you can actually provide for your family. Yes, Carolyn, they didn't ask me either. Yeah, $800 for a toilet seat and $300 for a hammer is how exactly the black ops are paid left. That's exactly. Oh my goodness. That is exactly how it is. It is that kind of math because they don't see the people who keep thinking that the federal government spending more money is a great thing to stimulate the economy. They're the ones who don't seem to understand that those Area 51s and those black op things that are being paid for, that the government is that keeps the government less and less transparent. See, I understand the reason why that you don't want to have a great ledger that actually labels out everything, because if you sit there and you put down this is the amount of money we spent to send operatives into Russia, this is the amount of money that we sent to send operatives into the UK, this is the amount of money we sent operatives into Israel to basically look and see what they're doing to spy on our allies. If you actually highlight this stuff and the information gets hacked, then it's that much easier to identify the assets and one, eliminate the assets, and two, bring charges against the United States for their international spying, for the illegal activity of what they're doing in other countries, because they have to be in everything. Because we don't want to talk about that. I saw a very interesting movie. I saw a very interesting movie. If you haven't seen this one, let me see if I could find this one for you here. The guy, I think his name is Michael P. Jordan. He's the one who played in Black Panther. He's got a new movie out that's on. He has a new movie that's out there right now on Amazon, where he plays part of a Black Ops team. He plays one of the members of the very people that go out and do the very thing that we're talking about, that go off and do the dirty work that we don't want to do ourselves because we want to avoid having any fingers pointed at us if we carry on and we do these things that we know we should be doing in the first place. So here he is. He's doing this thing. And I really don't want to give away the thing. It's on Amazon. If you have an Amazon account, I encourage you to go check out and watch this new movie that he just worked on. Let's see if I can get you the name of it so that you'll understand what it's. Without Remorse. He's doing Tom Clancy's Without Remorse. And it's a very good movie. I encourage you to watch it because of the fact that it clearly shows exactly what we're talking about right now. About the whole idea of government spending money and yes, and turtle tunnels. Turtle tunnels and so much more, Curtis. That's so right. We're sitting here and everybody keeps thinking, well, where's all the money going? Taxing the rich. Well, here's the thing about it. All the money that we said that was supposed to go to help you out never made it to you in the first place. Do you realize that we've had a war on poverty for the last 50 to 70 years? Trillions and trillions of dollars have been spent. And you had less people coming out of poverty from the war on poverty than you had people actually who could die from a virus, an unnamed virus that I can't mention for fear of being Facebook stalked and fact check shamed. You had a higher probability of people who would die from that virus last year than you had from people who actually were benefited from the war on poverty. Trillions and trillions of dollars spent, trillions and trillions of dollars being spent right now. And I find it very interesting because, again, if you limit the education of individuals, it's that much easier to manipulate them. It's that much easier to manipulate them. So let's get away. No. Back to the thing earlier about the poll. Some people said that they didn't ask you on this, and those Americans that were polled on the idea of being satisfied with what Biden would be doing in the federal government spending. Those people polled. My quick question is, were they breathing? Were the people who were polled in that process breathing? Because I dare say there may have been a lack of oxygen present in their lives, or probably no oxygen present at all. Lord help us. We're in a lot of trouble if we keep thinking that more government spending is going to fix the problem. We need to bring back shop class. We need to bring back economics. We need to be teaching Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover and Financial Peace University in our schools, in the 3rd grade, the 6th grade, the 9th grade, and even the 12th grade, just so people don't leave the education system without basic fundamental understanding of math. Yeah, Mitchell says that's what happens when that's what happens for wearing masks too long. I think so. I dare think so. So let's turn because there is no affordable living in overtaxing people. Removing people from the ability to live according to what they earn. There's just nothing good about that, nothing affordable about that. I want to take a left turn on something here because of the fact that here's another story. It has bothered me. I've wanted to talk about it for a while, but I want, as we're waiting for more information to come to pass, I want to figure out what's going on here. So many of you have known right now, you're aware about this whole idea that Josh Duggar of the, was it 19 and counting? He was arrested because of child pornography that he had on his computer. Josh Duggar, whatever it is, 33, pleaded not guilty to child porn charges on Friday. Was taken into custody in Arkansas a day earlier. Is charged with receiving and possessing material depicting the sexual abuse of children. And she said his sister Jill and her husband Derek said that if there's anything there related to child pornography, we hope that justice is done. And she said that they're very sad about the whole thing and it's terrible. Now, and it is a terrible thing, but child pornography isn't just the only problem that we have in this country. We have pride, we have hatred, we have racism, we have sexism, we have partisanship that makes us so angry and so vile and wicked against one another. I mean, Mark Keith Robinson, I want to make sure I get his name right. Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, black man. He's been a great voice of common sense for a long time. And, he shares a couple of things last week about praying for the officers who were killed last week when they did a wellness check on that one family. And I saw one person make a comment about, and I mistook their comment of assuming that they were attacking Markeith Robinson. The individual was actually attacking the Democrat governor and attacking other Democrats in the state, saying that they don't care, they're just faking it and showing their compassion. And I just basically said, okay, so I apologize for misunderstanding where they were coming from as they were making their comments, but I said, but what gets solved by making an assumption of reading into someone's heart, even though we don't know what's going on here? We don't know all the information. We don't know all the data. We're quick to just jump and blame the other side because we hate the other side. And even as I shared my information about Joe Biden, I don't hate Joe Biden. I pray for him. I pray. One, I think that the elder abuse that's taking place is just wrong. I'm praying that his family, his wife of many years will step up to the plate and protect him better. But this other individual is like, I don't care what you have to say. I don't like the guy, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, what? How does that solve anything, being so polarized against the other side that we just have to assume the worst of every individual? Yeah, just like even my comment. Hey, listen, the facts show that if we're not accountable with money, if leaders, whether they're political leaders or they're religious leaders, and they're not held accountable with the purse strings, anything is possible. Anything is possible. We've learned this over the last decade, more, and counting, centuries, that corruption is at all levels of society, if we're going to be real about this. Now back to Josh Duggar. The thing that's really sad about this, though, is, I have to wonder. I'm not saying his innocence. I'm not saying his guilt here. But I'm wondering how the material got there. So, some time back, I was given a couple links to download a lot of the WikiLeaks information. And, not that one. I wonder, was it the WikiLeaks download? Was it the WikiLeaks download that Josh Duggar put on his computer? I'm not saying that the WikiLeaks data contained pornography information. I'm not saying whether it had good information, bad information, but a lot of us were so eager. This morning, I received a text message from an email I don't recognize. I received an email from a text message, or a email from a text message from an email I don't recognize, and all they put in the text message at 5:30 this morning was an address. That's all they put in there. Now I could click this. It could be infected. It could actually get my system compromised, because I'll just be curious, like, who is this? Why did you send this to me? I responded, who are you? Why did you send this to me? They never got back to me. Now, curiosity is killing the cat. Curiosity is killing me because I want to push this link, but I know there's a possibility that there could be a lot of different things. It could take me to a site that's virus laden. It could take me to a site that has pornography. It could take me to a site that has a lot of information if I just simply click that link. Like the fish bait stuff or the clickbait stuff or the phishing emails that we get that looks exactly like it's from our banks. It looks exactly from whomever or people that we trust. Well, it has a Google image, or it has a image of our bank or whatever, but when we click the link, you see that the address has nothing to do with our bank. It has nothing to do with whatever. All I'm saying is that there's a lot of temptation for us to just click things because we just want information or we're just so curious, and sometimes it's best to just leave it alone. I had a friend here on Facebook. He sent me a message. He sent me a link the other day. His account was hacked in Facebook. And sure enough, it took me to a site that was compromised. And like, oh, my site was hacked. But the thing about it is that we're so eager to get so much information that we're not living if we're always looking for the next free thing or the next bling bling, and we're not doing enough time to ask ourselves, do I really need that? Do I really need that? I'm just wondering if it was a WikiLeaks download. I'm not blaming it. I'm just saying sometimes all those things that you think might be great for you just may not be. Let's do this. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom. Let's go to a break, and I'll talk to you on the flip side.
And now, Watson at Walmart.
Okay, everyone, put on your masks.
How's my mask?
It's upside down, sweetie.
I'm sorry.
No, sweetie. I'm sorry we're still being bothered by this foolishness.
My mask won't stay on.
1 second. Let me help your little sister first.
Thank you, Daddy.
You're welcome. Okay, let me get your sister. Wrap around the ears, over the nose. There. Let's go.
Sir, you can't come in here without a mask.
What?
Dad, you forgot your mask.
Let's go back to the car. Okay, putting on my useless mask.
Whoa! My mask fell off again. Triggered! Daddy, what's useless?
It's the insanity that says a mask can stop the virus smaller than a mask walking through Walmart, standing in the foyer of a restaurant, and even on a plane.
Triggered! How much American fried versus coffee did you have today? I think he really needs New Life Holistics.
Ha ha. Mask is on. Let's go.
Can I push the cart?
Welcome to Walmart.
Is that person wearing pajamas?
Yes, dear. A lot of people feel really comfortable when they come here, so they don't get dressed.
Wow, look at that person.
Who? What? Oh, Lord. Turn the other way. It's impolite to stare.
Daddy,
Yes, Angel?
why is he showing his bum and his panties? And his butt crack. Yuck. Whoa, too much information.
Yes, it is. I can't do this. We're out of here.
But aren't we supposed to be buying something?
We can get it from Tarjay. Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 5 Radio. I'm so glad that you could be with me today as we just talk about affordable living, highlighting your path or highlighting our path to better. The reason why is because of the fact that I believe that a lot of us are within the ability to have a better life and so much more. The problem is I think that when we look and we see some of the different things that we're doing, we don't recognize it's usually counterproductive to our success. My website's battle4freedom.com. I also want you to go to mojo50.com, and also I want you to consider one of our sponsors, New Life Holistic, as we sit here just talking about the whole idea of recovering, sometimes needing that therapy to get us into thinking correctly.
Does your mind seem like it often shuts down before it even starts? Sounds like you need to detox to improve your health in body, mind, and spirit. I'd like to tell you about New Life Holistic. It is an amazing therapy process that uses neurofeedback and biofeedback for many issues that ails everyone. New Life's method and approach to health, balance, energy, and vitality is what sets it apart from anything you have experienced ever before. Call 1-833-4-BIO-LIFE and tell them Watson from Battle for Freedom has sent you. One more thing. Give them the code MOJO50 and save $50 off of your first session. The consult is free. New Life Holistic.
Yes, New Life Holistic. Share it out with as many people as you possibly can. Get some people healing. Even my daughter said I needed some New Life Holistic in that little blurb commercial that we sponsor. We had time there. Folks, this idea of affordable living. You have to understand this past weekend, like I said, I was meeting new people, friends of birthday party for his wife. And I just really met some awesome people who just down to earth Americans who just want to live, who just want to survive just like the rest of us. They're tired of a lot of false accusations being made about them. They want us to use more common sense. A lot of them are also frustrated with the government being too big, or not enough accountability that we have, or better use that we can make of what funds have been already entrusted to the government to create better communities and everything like that. And so as I sit here and I talk about this whole idea, is like, before the break, I was talking about the whole idea of Josh Duggar, or Duggar, whatever his name, getting busted about the pornography and everything like that. And, I wondered if it was WikiLeaks stuff. Did he actually unknowingly download the information because he was so eager to have all this other information? Again, I did not download any of the information. And I wonder, on that, when people were telling us about this, that you could download for free all this information, where are the addresses of the downloaders? Were they collected? Were they captured? I mean, how many people are they going to be going after to see what kind of information that you had? They put this bait out for you, saying, hey, download all this information. Here's all the truth that you can have. And every one of us being inquisitive, we want to see the Clintons go down. We want to see the Obamas go down, the Bidens go down, or the Pelosi's and Democrats. We want to see all these different individuals go down. But we're willing to just download and capture any information if it means that we could shut down their program. Again, I'm not saying that the information wasn't perfect. I'm not saying that the information wasn't in and of itself factual and true. I'm not denying this. There is information out there of the conflicting interests of past, present, and future administrations that will be overseeing the welfares of our country, or over abusing the welfare of our country. But I sit here and I wonder how much of us we stopped living because of the fact that we're stressing out on trying to change. We're trying to change things up top when we really should be focusing on changing things in the bottom. I mean, even the whole idea that our country is so obsessed with racism and hate speech and everything like that. This one came out last week, but this one annoys me like there's no tomorrow. Because there's outrage because of the fact that you have a Democrat Party official refers to Republican Senator Tim Scott as an Oreo days after he trended as Uncle Tim on Twitter. Gary O'Connor heads the Democrat Party in Lamar County, northeast of Dallas. O'Connor reacted to the rebuttal speech of Tim Scott, Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina on Wednesday, and he basically says America is not a race. Where Scott said America is not a racist country, and O'Connor wrote of Scott saying it seems clear that he is little more than an Oreo. Oreo is a racial slur used to describe a black person who acts white. See, and in the middle of all this, where were you, NAACP? Where were you, Black Lives Matter? Where were you, Democrat leadership? Was this called out? Was this called out by the Democrat leadership? No. This is silent. But here's a white man, he's a white Democrat attacking a black Republican. But we can't afford to deal with that racism, because racism by cops are really destroying and terrorizing our nation. That's what we have to worry. If we want better living, because we don't want cops coming out against us, attacking us for the color of our skin. Here is a white Democrat from Texas who attacked a black Republican from South Carolina purely on the basis of the color of his skin. He felt comfortable repeating the language that black people who attack black people. Because they say, oh, we talk too white. We talk white. We talk Republican. That language. We don't want to address that. We don't want to make room and have a healthier environment that we all can live in. We don't want to denounce that kind of speech. We don't want to denounce that kind of hate speech. But finding every article, every Karen, every person who's going to call the police on a black person, we could find that, but we don't want to talk about this. We can't have affordable living until we start being honest and transparent about the very lack of integrity and character that we've had in society when it comes to how we handle racism in America. It's just sad. It's very sad that there's no outrage. There's no outrage, and there won't be any outrage. Can we really afford to live with such racism? Democrats will say yes, because it's a means to an end. Keep everybody thinking, and see, because do you recognize by calling Tim Scott Uncle Tim as a parody to Uncle Tom, by calling him an Oreo, by calling him a sellout, by calling him a traitor to his race, you know who that fuels? It's not the white racists. It's the black racists. See, because I left churches that were calling me Oreo, sellout, traitor to my race, because they couldn't see or acknowledge or repent of their black racism. And these are Christians who sit there and believe that we're combating racism in America, but when you tell them, hey, but what you said about me was racist, because to insinuate that I'm trying to act white or trying to be white means that, one, that there's something better about being black than being white, and two, that there's something wrong about being white than being black. When you call someone an Oreo, when you call someone a sellout, when you call someone a traitor to their race. But we're not going to deal with that. We want a better America, but we don't want to change what we're doing for a better America. Let's spin to another direction. I'm going to get to the other stuff that I want to talk about here too, because this is very, very, very interesting. So Susan Collins basically says she slams Utah Republicans who booed and nearly censored quote unquote traitor Mitt Romney at a 2,000-strong GOP convention, and says, "We're not a party led by just one person." She said she was appalled when she saw the video of Mitt Romney being booed and heckled at a GOP conference in his home state of Utah. And Romney, she said, Romney is an outstanding senator who serves his state and our country well. And she said, we're not a party after just one person. Now, as much as I disagree with what Romney did in trying to vote to impeach the President of the United States of America, I have to agree with Sue Collins. I have to agree with her. And here's the reason why. As much as I disagree with Romney making the decision that he did to impeach Trump, it was his choice. It was his right. Was it the right thing to do? I don't think so. I don't believe so. But it was his choice. See, folks, we cannot, if we really want to have the better living that we want in this country, if we want to have more affordable living in this country, and a country about peace and about liberty and so much more, that means that even if we disagree with the likes of a Romney or an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, we turn around and we don't disrespect them for practicing they're executing or exercising their rights as an elected official put in government. We don't like it. The best way to actually fix this stuff is you turn around and you put more voters in those states like the Democrats do to get rid of the people that you don't want. Or better yet, why don't we start putting out candidates of character and integrity and respect who can actually do what they were sent to the office to do, not for political partisanship, but actually to serve our states, our cities, our states, our country, our nation. But to sit here, take care, Kathy, but to sit here and attack him, wait. He decided to make a decision, and we're going to penalize him for this because he did something that he felt compelled to do. But we're saying we can go into a store without a mask. even though the sign may say a mask. We could say we're going to rebel against the things that the government telling us to do because we're going to speak our own mind. We can speak whatever we want to believe because we're not going to let anyone tell us how to live our lives. But right now we're telling the likes of a Mitt Romney, the likes of a Thomas Massey, the likes of a Rand Paul, the likes of Amy Coney Barrett and John Roberts to vote the way that we want to. Now, at the end of the day, it's their conscience that they have to deal with about whether or not they're going to do what's right. But for us to sit here and boo Romney, for us to sit here and attack Romney, to attack these political people that we put in office, I dare say we need to look in the mirror and ask if we really truly believe in the word called liberty. We can't afford to be so flip-flopping like Fauci when it comes to character and integrity. We can't say you can't force a cake maker to do this, to do something against their will, but you can't you can't force me to wear a mask in your store. We can't have that language. We can't say, well, this is against the Constitution, but this isn't. Huh? Protect his Constitution rights. Now you need to protect my Constitution rights. We can't afford to be flip-flopping in this thing if we want to have a better America. God's showing us our hypocrisy, folks. And if we don't want to be honest about this, all we're going to do is be worse as a country as we live inconsistent to our ways and mission. I'm gonna agree with Collins on this one. I may not agree with her in a lot, but I'm going to agree with her. And I think that if we're going to be consistent on this thing called integrity, character, and principle, the principle of liberty accounts in ways even when it doesn't benefit us. The principle of liberty it means something even when it doesn't benefit us. Carolyn, hard to find an honest man in politics. They can be honest going in and corrupt going out. And honestly, to tell you the truth, no pun intended, I think the honesty is just a banner and not actually the internal makeup of the individual. They could say the phrases, they could say the words that get our attention and make us believe that this is who they are. But at the end of the day, the power corrupts. The power corrupts. Only a remnant of people can go into office, into political, not just political office. Only a remnant of people can actually even stand in a pulpit and not make it about them and about power and control and integrity. It's just, and the rare few like your pastor, like Andy Lee of Crossroad Community Church, we need more like him. We need more like him. Maybe even some like him running for office. We just have to get ready for corny jokes, but you go, it's all good. It's all good. Here is another one I thought in terms of affordable living and everything like that. Now, Warren Buffett's out there right now, and I find this really funny because he says, Warren Buffett says the average person cannot pick stocks in a warning to a wave of amateur investors who have taken up to trading during the pandemic. Now, see, this is the one that I really like because of the fact that I think the problem here is amateur investors are starting to affect his bottom line. It's not that they shouldn't do it. It's like, that they don't know what they're doing. And many of them probably don't. Many probably don't. And so what they're doing is they're affecting the market in a way that they've been able to control for so long because a lot of people weren't looking in the market. A lot of people weren't thinking about investing, but now they are. A lot more people are deciding to take their stimulus checks and throw that money into opening up some kind of trading account because of the fact that they now have extra money to invest. Investing is just gambling. When it comes to the stock market, it's a form of gambling. And he doesn't want anybody else in there because now his bottom dollar is being affected. And not just his, but many other people. They're angry. Why do you think that they're so angry with what happened with Robin Hood? Why do you think they were so angry with Robinhood and what happened with, what was that, GameStop and so many other different things? Because they were so busy manipulating the market and making their millions, and all of a sudden the people at GameStop came in and started doing the same thing that they were doing, but now that they're mad that someone else is beating them at their own game. See, if you want the better living, you have to be consistent from the top all the way down to the bottom. Don't sit there and manipulate the system and think that only the elite have the room to manipulate the economy, manipulate the markets, and make the millions and billions and trillions of dollars. God's breaking down a lot of different things to make things more affordable for everybody. Let's take another left turn on this and just go to another one. This one was really sad. Oh my goodness. How many of you have seen this? So, NYPD in search for a man who ran over a school bus driver, leaving her in critical condition. New York City police have launched a manhunt for a crazed driver who ran over a 44-year-old bus driver on Friday afternoon. The man got out of his gray Subaru Crosstrek to confront the bus driver on the corner of Hinsdale Street and Linden Boulevard. In East New York, and he smashed the window of the bus, and then when the driver got out to record him on her cell phone, he intentionally ran over her. Here's my thing is, I can't even show you the video because it's bad. It's bad. And I sit here and I wonder, how can we afford to be so detached from one another that a crime like this could take place? Why weren't there cars chasing him? Why weren't there cars basically shutting him down and stopping him from ever getting more than 100 feet past that atrocity of what he has done? No one got the license plate. No one decided to get into their cars and race down. I hope that there were people who were there to take care of it as fast as possible. But this man, we are now at a point where people are so volatile that they're wanting to shoot, they're wanting to kill. Hey, is there going to be a ban on Subaru? Or can we sue Subaru for this woman being run over by a car by this individual? Because if we can't blame manufacturers of a vaccine for the people dying, but we can blame manufacturers for guns for people dying in mass shootings, and if this woman dies or if this woman suffers major medical concerns, can we now sue Subaru for what took place here? Can we now also sue the street manufacturers that allowed the car to drive on the street to run the woman over? You see how dumb that is? We can't afford this kind of foolishness. But this is the language we have allowed to exist in our society that keeps us divided and unable to actually come to some consensus of common sense and better living for everyone. But it's not only that. It's not only that nightmare that took place. Here was another one. Here's another one that's really sad. Bronx judge releases man 29 years of age who smashed windows of 4 synagogues hours after first judge defied New York City's bail reform laws to keep him behind bars. Jordan Burnett faces 42 charges that he terrorized Riverdale's Jewish community. New York bail reform dictates that if no one was hurt in the attacks, the suspect should qualify to be released. But a Bronx judge, Louis Knock, classified some of the charges as hate crimes and imposed a $20,000 bail on the 29-year-old suspect. But hours later, Judge Tara Collins granted Burnett supervised release. Now, this is the thing about it, as you sit here and you look at this. They would want hate crime people put in jail. Well, no one was hurt on this thing here. And when I sit there and I tell everybody about the whole petty crime thing, and when I sit there and I tell you about, trust me, Mr. Burnett will probably be shooting somebody or killing somebody within the next 48 months. That petty crime that builds up into the behavior that I'm going to start taking people's life, because the moment that you feel comfortable in actually destroying people's property, that's not that far of a stretch before you decide that, you know what, I'm going to make it even more personal and I'm going to hurt them. I'm going to rape somebody. I'm going to punch someone. I'm going to kill somebody. I don't care. But you know what? Liberal, progressive ideology says put them back out on the streets and let them be free. We don't want to hold them back because it's Donald Trump that needs to be behind bar. It's Republicans that need to be behind bar. It's 3%ers who need to be behind bar. It needs to be all of these white domestic terrorist organizations. Those are the ones who need to be behind bars. But monsters like this, let them free. We can't afford this. Man, I ran out of so much time. There's so much I want to talk about here. You know, one of the things, I was having this conversation with this officer this weekend, and he's about an hour and a half southeast of Indianapolis. And, you know, one of the different things that, you know, in an arena of all this hatred towards police officers, defund police and everything like that, he gets back to the simplicity of, you know, these cities are too big and these counties are being taken away and we're consolidating police forces and basically making it very difficult for the police officers to develop relationships with people in their own community. And so what happens is no one really knows their police. Not everyone knows the police officer. Not the police officer doesn't know everyone there. So there isn't this mutual respect that everyone has for one another, because if you have that, like almost what was it? With oh my goodness, I can't remember the name of it, but the Andy Griffith show, where, you know, you have that one sheriff that knows everybody, that knows the behavior patterns of everybody, that can meet the criminal where before they're about to commit the crime so that they don't have to do it. Before, we don't have that kind of law enforcement or relationship in our communities, and we need to get everything back to the way it was before, because the big city system is not working. That's what happens with big government. When we see that, you know, that the cities are taking over and we're stretching out these police officers to maintain thousands and thousands and thousands of people instead of a ratio of one police officer to maybe 100 homes or 250 homes. It makes it that much more difficult to manage and even have a relationship. He had some great things that he was talking about, like having teenagers go out there and clean the roads and things like that, because if they do that, they'll get ticked off. They'll get very angry as they watch other kids or other people destroying what they cleaned up. And again, when I sit here talking about affordable living, I believe every one of our communities, every one of our states, every one of our cities in this country can be more affordable for everybody if we took a step back and started appreciating more what's going on locally with us. And I'm even saying what's locally with you right now. I was looking at some numbers here on this thing here. Average household cable bill is $217 a month. Average cell phone bill for a family of four could be between $120 a month and $220 a month. People spend out. They say that people have a tendency to eat out 19 times a month. Average monthly payment is somewhere between, I think it's like $1,100 and $1,700. I think it's about $1,300 for a 30-year loan, and it's about near $1,800 for a 15-year loan. But when we sit here and we watch what people are spending, and you start doing the things like a budget, look at Financial Peace University, read Total Money Makeover first, then look into Financial Peace University, because talking about a budget, talking about our spending, talking about what we have coming out versus what we have coming in versus what we have coming out, and start reducing what's coming out so that it's staying under what's coming in, and you have more affordable living. But when we just rushing, busy, got to be in the big city, got to be in the big life, got to keep moving, got to keep going on vacations, got to keep buying this, got to keep buying that. And what happens is we get angry because of the fact we don't know where our money went. Why? Because we were distracted with all the other craziness telling us how our lives can be so much better, but we never looked in the mirror to see what are we doing to contributing to making our lives so unaffordable. Maybe our Starbucks budgets are way too high, and we'll never get those bills paid off because we believe we deserve that cup of coffee. I don't know what it is that you have in your life. I mean, when you look at cable packages, people buying sports and spending all this information, and it's like, but what is the sports giving back to you that's actually contributing to making your life better? And I'm talking about in a financial status and so many other different ways. Maybe we're spending too much money on being entertained that we're and we can't afford it, but we do it anyway because it's just what we've always done. And I believe that as we're watching our cities collapse, we're watching our counties collapse, we're watching our communities collapse, we're watching our churches collapse, we're watching our homes collapse because of the fact that we just are stuck in the phase of doing what everybody else has been doing, living outside of their means or living ridiculously and not living with common sense. Because that's the only way it could be possible that we could justify a government spending like crazy, because we're spending like crazy, but we're mad at them for doing exactly what we're doing. See, affordable living is possible. A better living is possible for all of us. The question is are we going to look into the mirror? Are we going to look into the mirror and see what we can do better? I know for me, I have some major projects I have to do at home right now because I'm not happy with the things that I have left unattended that need to be taken care of. I can have a whole lot better living, and I will. Because I have to make the changes. We need to make changes if we want things better. Brad Staggs and Daily Mojo's up next, folks. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle4Freedom. I really appreciate every last one of you. I'll just see you tomorrow. But for now, live within your means and glorify God. I'm out.